Hey guys, welcome back to my channel, or welcome to my channel. If you're new here, my name is Angelisa and I make videos about books. And today we're going to be doing a quick wrap up of the books that I read in February. Now there isn't that many, I only read 5, but we're gonna go through them really quickly and just talk about like my overall thoughts on them. But first we're gonna do storygraph stats. So let me just pull up my storygraph. Okay, so like I said, I read 5 books and I read a total of 2,048 pages. So the moods were, top 3 were reflective, lighthearted, and funny. And then following that was emotional, and then the last 3 were relaxing, mysterious, and adventurous. All of them were like medium pace. They were all 300 to 499 pages. I read 4 fiction and 1 nonfiction. And the average rating for my books this month was actually 3.8 stars, which is really low for me. Last year I wasn't very like critical with my ratings, and I gave a lot of things like basically anywhere from like 3 to 5 stars. Like if I liked the book, basically I gave it 5 stars. And this year I'm trying to be a lot more critical, so that's definitely showing in my ratings because yeah, the average rating is starting to go down. But anyway, let's get into it. So the first book that I read in February was the 7 or 7.5, depending on what copy you got, Deaths of Evelyn, Hardcastle by Stuart, Turton, I think is how you say their name. So I rated this 3.75 stars. So I think the reason why I rated this much was honestly, at first, it was just very confusing. Like, I didn't really understand what was going on. It jumps, like, time a lot, and I was listening to it as an audiobook at first, which I think, like, fed into my confusion. I think I would have been less confused if I just read it from the beginning. So I ended up switching to the physical again, and then it started to make more sense, but yeah, at first it was just very confusing. I did really still enjoy the book and the ending, the way that it all kind of like came back to the the way that it all kind of just like came back to the beginning was really good. But yeah, it was just hard to kind of keep up with it sometimes, or like understand like what timeline I was on and what was going on. But still, it was really good. 3.75 stars. It's like a mystery thriller, I would say. Yeah, it's described as like an Agatha Christie meets Groundhog Day, because basically this lady is just like dying, and if you don't figure out why she's dying before the end of the day, like it happens again, and it just like keeps looping and looping and looping. But yeah, it was pretty good. I really enjoyed it. I would recommend it, but definitely read it like physically. I think an audiobook or anything like that would kind of be a little bit confusing. Hey guys, I was just editing and just wanted to quickly say that when I said like read it instead of using the audiobook, obviously if an audiobook is your only option due to like sight impairment, do that, of course. I wasn't trying to exclude anybody. I was just editing and realized that that might not have been the most inclusive thing to say. So obviously if your option is audiobook and listening to audiobooks or e-readers, do that, do what works for you. But I was more just saying like if you're a person who has the option to do both, I would personally probably read it, because you can take it slower and reread if you need to, versus having to like rewind and all that stuff using audiobooks. But yeah, I just want to quickly say that because I wasn't trying to be like what is it? I don't know the word to say, like the opposite of inclusion, basically exclusion. I don't know. But anyway, yeah, love you guys, bye. If you're listening to it, because if you miss something, like you actually miss a big piece and things come back, which I really actually liked. There's like a lot of Easter eggs like throughout the book that you realize later. So yeah, really good. The next one that I read is Everything I Know About Love by Dolly Alderton. So I read this for a video. I thought this was going to be like a memoir, but like a romance, like about romance, but it was more just about love, like as a topic, and like love between family, friends, yes, with like dating too, but and also like I think self-love. So I rated this 4 stars. I thought it was really good. I really enjoyed it. Definitely like a good like coming of age if you're in your 20s. So yeah, I thought this was really good. It was a very quick read, and not everyone I think would be able to relate to this. Like some things that she was going through, like the stories, like I didn't really relate to at all, but other things I did. So I think you kind of just take what you can from it and take what like applies to you, but a lot of it had like good lessons and just like funny stories. Right, the next one I read that was for a video was The Do-Over by Lynn Painter. So I thought this was really cute. I rated this 3.75 stars. It definitely wasn't a 5-star for me, and it wasn't really a 4-star for me either. Like I said, I'm trying to be more critical. I don't know what it was. It was just like I think a lot of YA romances just really bother me because it's so teenagey, like the way that they think, which makes sense because it's YA. But basically, because this is a romance, and really for romances for me, I want to see like progression and like character development, whether it be from the couple or like in general. She did have a lot of like character development, but at the same time there was no progression on like the couple aspect and like the romance aspect because the day kept repeating for her but like not for him. So I think that was it for me, was that like there wasn't just a lot of progression in their relationship, and in the end the ending kind of just like fell flat for me. Like it is whatever. But I did really like Lynn Painter's writing. I like how easy it is to read. I love her jokes. I love her references to pop culture. So yeah, I still really enjoyed this. I'm just trying to be more critical, so I can't say it's like a 4-star or a 5-star for me. So I'd say 3.75. It's definitely higher than like a 3, even higher than like a 3.5 for me. So the next one I read was also for a video, and it's another romance, and it's Icebreaker by Hannah Grace. So I rated this 5 stars, and I was so happy to have a 5-star romance read. Everything about this was just perfect for me. There's some people out there who really didn't like this, and there's a lot of people out there who really did love this, and I am one of those who really, really loved it. First of all, the spice was chef's kiss. Like chapter 15/16, oh my gosh. But besides that, their relationship is just so healthy, and like they have such good communication, and I've just never read that in a book. Like in a book there's always that third act breakup, and just I don't know, like they're just a mess. Like there's always a mess, and at the end of the book you're always like, why are these two together? But these two, like, they just made perfect sense, and every problem that they ran into they tackled together as a couple. And even when one of them like maybe fell short on their end or like didn't react like in the most healthy way, they came together after and like had a conversation. Like there's just always communication at some point, and it's, in my opinion, so much better to read than like these miscommunication tropes. Like I hate the miscommunication tropes so much. This was great, and it's a hockey romance, which I love, and it's gonna be a series, so there's gonna be more books about more people in like this hockey team friend group. But yeah, I'm very excited about this. This was one of my top reads of this year so far. It might be, is it my only 5-star read of the year so far? Nope, I've rated 3 books 5 stars, so I don't even remember which books they were. Oh, okay, yeah, Vow of Thieves and One True Loves. Okay, but those were amazing. But anyway, also amazing. This was great, so I definitely recommend this. The last book that I read and like completed in February, because I did start reading like another book at the end of February, but I just haven't finished it yet, and that'll be in the March wrap up. The last one was The Fine Print by Lauren Asher. I'm actually so uncomfortable. So I rated this 2.5 stars, and I feel like that was me being like really nice because I know a lot of people like this book, but I just didn't. And again, so I audiobooked the beginning of this. I like kind of switched on and off from audiobook because sometimes I listen to audiobooks like while I'm doing stuff around the house or like doing chores or whatever, just like busy work. And the voice that's used for Rowan's point of view is so deep and like dramatic and sad that when I'm listening to these like self-loathing self-dialogues that Rowan has, it just makes it so much worse for some reason. And I had so much else to say. Hold on. I wrote down notes because I felt so strongly. These are like my thoughts because I need to get this out. This is gonna be a little bit unhinged. Okay, so first of all, The Fine Print is a grumpy sunshine like workplace romance. It's an employee and her boss, and which is fine. Like I don't mind those. I don't think that they're like the most ethical, but I don't mind it. Like it's not like I'm not gonna not read it or like hate it because that's what's going on. It did have short chapters, which I really enjoyed. There were like a lot of cute things in it. Like some of the spicy scenes were really good. Like that whole book signing thing was really cute. I really enjoyed like what he did to Lance. You know, like I thought that was a really good like power move, and it was really funny and I enjoyed that. But there was also just so much that was just like I could not get over. Like first of all, Okay, this is just my opinion, like nobody get offended, please. Rowan was very like annoyingly sad, and I understand he's like gone through a lot, but it was just like annoyingly sad. Like I don't even know how to say it. Like, I want to use the word like brooding. Is that the right word? I don't even know what I'm saying, but he was just very, very sad in the beginning, and I thought that whole like Scott thing was very unnecessary and just didn't need to happen. Like, it just added unnecessary conflict, and I was just like, why? Like, you're a billionaire. Like, have some confidence. So there was that, and then there was also like again with his POV, again like listening to the audiobooks in his POV, even reading, like the spicy scenes were kind of boring to me. Like, he kept switching from like the scene being about like what they're doing to his self-loathing and just like how sad he is and like how much he's just like doesn't deserve anything, and it would just like I don't need it during that. Like, I like emotional scenes where like they talk about things, but when it's like throughout the book and like it's interrupting like the flow of a plot or a scene, it just annoys me, I think. Maybe that's just me. It was also just like he was so obsessed with like owning her, and then she became obsessed with like being owned, and it was very weird to me. I don't really enjoy ownership. Like, I think I do in some aspects, but the way that they use it in this was just not like it. Like, I can go for like a dark romance or like a really like spicy romance, but it wasn't spicy ownership, it was just like possessiveness ownership. I don't know if what I'm saying makes sense. Oh, he was also just like so bossy and like buying $200 wine and like all that stuff, and like clearly she's not into that. Like, it just seemed like he was just trying to like flex and like do what like he wanted in the relationship, but not necessarily like what she wanted. But it was cute like how he, you know, got to know her sister and like connected with her really well. So I don't know, there was like pros and cons, which is why in the end the second half of the book did get a lot better. I think the first half was just like, yikes. And I started reading the book physically, and I just gave up on the audiobook because his voice in the audiobook was just bothering me. I think in the end, that's why I decided on a 2.5, because to me that's like 50%. Like, you passed, you were an okay book. Like, I didn't DNF you, and there were great parts of it. There was just so many parts that I was just like, unnecessary. Could have done without it. Didn't need that, to be honest. And then in the ending, like the second half of the book was better, but in the ending, like the third act breakup, like it happened in like the last 10% of the book, and then it got tied up so quickly, but he was so mean that I was just like, why are you forgiving him? Like, this doesn't, and this is what I mean. It's one of those books where there's a third act breakup and you're just like, why are they together? Like, that makes no sense. But yeah, I don't know. I think I'm gonna like the next two a lot better. So I'm excited for Terms and Conditions and the final offer, but this one just kind of fell flat for me. And I don't think I'm the only one. Like, I have heard that a lot of people liked the second one better, and the third one just came out, so you know, the verdict is still kind of coming out on that one. But yeah, so oh yeah, the last thing I want to say about it is like, I hated the epilogue. I don't enjoy that specific trope for epilogues for romance books any longer. I think I've read it so many times and it just seems like a cop-out to me, and I don't want to say what it is because it's a spoiler, but what it is not always what's like gonna be the ending for people. So I just feel like a lot of people don't get to relate to that type of like epilogue. But the extended epilogue was cute as a follow-up to the epilogue, if that makes sense. Anyway guys, that was all of the books that I read this month. I hope you guys enjoyed this little quick wrap-up. And me having like a little unhinged rant about the fine print. I'm so sorry, like I really wanted to like it, and I know a lot of people are probably gonna be mad about this, but everybody has different opinions on books. Everybody likes different tropes and like styles of books, and for me, you know, it just wasn't it, but I think the next two will be, and I did have a lot of good reads this month, so I'm not upset about that. And March is gonna be a great month. If you haven't watched my March TBR yet, go watch that, because I picked my reads from like a wheel of names, like random selector, and I picked a lot of great books, and I have a lot of good videos planned for March, so yeah, stay tuned. But anyway, thank you guys so much for watching. I hope you guys have a good rest of your day or whenever you're watching this, and I will talk to you guys next time. Bye.